Hi again, and welcome back to the Intermission. We just talked to Sasha Bourdin and Rachel Joselson about their Mettner project, and now I want to talk to Rachel Joselson, who I know as Dr. J. She was my voice teacher for 5 years in undergrad, about her current project that she's been doing for a little over a year, the Songs of the Holocaust. Now, first I want to do a little bit of review. This is a critically acclaimed project that she has been a part of. So according to Nats, the Nats Journal, it is fortunate indeed that these precious songs have been entrusted to the loving and capable hands of soprano Rachel Joselson and pianist Rainey Luquana. One can tell that they have given their hearts and souls to this undertaking, and they deliver musical perfection at every turn. So that's pretty amazing that they got this review, and there are many other reviews that can be found on racheljoselson.com.
Als ich dich gesehen zum ersten Mal, war ich gebannt von deinem Blick. Und dein Lächeln schien mir wie ein Strahl von Sonne und von Glück. Und ich suchte deine Nähe. Gingst du auch
Welcome, Rachel. Welcome again.
Thank you.
So I want to first ask, what got you into this project? What inspired you to start the Songs of the Holocaust?
Well, growing up as a Jewish American, I was always very fascinated and horrified by the Nazi regime and that whole time in history. And I came upon a recording of some of these songs and was just fascinated by them. They were recorded by a mezzo-soprano, and I thought, I can't find any of these recordings that are recorded by an American soprano.
And these songs already exist, right?
Yes, these are songs that were written, the first half of my CD are songs that were created, or if not created, then rearranged in the camps. Specifically Terezin, or in German Theresienstadt, in the former Czechoslovakia.
So these songs were written, composed, or kind of put together in a concentration camp.
Yes, in a work camp.
Wow, that's amazing. And how did you and Rainey get together, and how did this collaboration come together?
Well, I had applied several years ago for an NEA grant to take these songs on the road, and didn't receive the grant, and I just kind of put the project on the back burner.
Okay.
And then a couple of years ago, I received the opportunity as a School of Music faculty member to apply for what we call a CD subvention, or a grant to cover the expenses of recording and having a CD released.
Wonderful.
And I decided to bring this project back. And my first CD project, solo CD project, was songs of Le Garnet and Honecker. And I did that recording with my dear colleague, Rainey Luquana. And so naturally I turned to her again, and she was thrilled to be part of the collaboration.
Wonderful. I love finding that partner in music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we always want to find our partners.
She's a very supportive colleague,
yes,
and a very dear friend.
It seems like it. So you said you wanted to take it, you were originally looking to take it on the road, which you have done now.
Yes.
So where have you taken this concert?
Well, we have performed in dozens of colleges, universities, religious institutions. I would say the biggest audiences we've had, the first was at the United Nations.
Oh, wow.
We were invited to perform for the General Assembly of the United Nations in New York City for their annual commemoration to the victims of the Holocaust.
Wow.
And to the liberation of Auschwitz in 1945 on January 27th. And so that was not only for a large audience there, but
that's amazing.
It was also televised across the world in all the different United Nations organizations.
So you have been just moving and shaking with this.
Mm-hmm.
It seems, I see it on Facebook, I see all of these new dates that you have performed, and you have another date coming up during the kind of the right season.
Yes, so there are two seasons that generally, two dates, where annually the commemoration to the victims of the Holocaust, it's remembered. This is usually sometime in April, May. It varies because it's according to the Hebrew calendar.
Okay.
And then this January 27th date, which the United Nations has taken on as their date, which specifically commemorates the liberation of Auschwitz by the Russians
Wonderful.
in 1945. This coming April, we will be in Eugene, Oregon.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm in the process of trying to network and arrange as many concerts out in the Northwest. Oh, we had the honor of performing right here at the University of Iowa at the Memorial Union.
Okay.
We were invited to open an event with Michael Bornstein, who is the youngest living survivor of Auschwitz.
Wow.
And so we opened the program with 4 songs, and that was for 1,300 people, and it was televised.
What a great,
Yes.
what a great opportunity.
It was such an honor. And one of the most beautiful things about this project is, although there are not many survivors left on the planet, we've met a large majority of them, because always we have survivors or the children of survivors and their families come to our events.
So how many songs were a part of this concentration camp, Terezin? As far as your...
I would say the first half of the CD are songs that were composed at Terezin.
Wow.
And the second half are songs that were composed in the 1980s by a survivor of the Holocaust. Norbert Glansberg is his name, and he was a Polish Jew who, after the invasion by the Nazis in Poland, he was forced to flee to Paris. And in Paris, he was no longer allowed to be part of the classical musicians' registration, permission to perform. And so he ended up writing music for and accompanying Edith Piaf, Maurice Chevalier, and Yves Montand. And then when Paris was taken, he was forced to flee to the south of France, which at that time was still unoccupied. And he went into hiding. Some very influential musician friends hid him. And so he ended up surviving the war and creating a very successful film music business. So he was a film music composer.
Kind of like Korngold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And so in his later years, he got back to his classical roots, basically in his retirement time, as well as being very inspired by a collection of writings by victims of the camps, both Jewish victims and non-Jewish resistance fighters who suffered a similar fate.
So he set their words or their poems to music?
Yes. So in the 1980s, he wrote a cycle of 12 Holocaust Lieder. He found a collection of these writings called Der Tod ist ein Meister aus Deutschland, which translates as...
Can I guess?
Yes.
The death is the master of Germany.
Yes. Or you could say, death is a master teacher from Germany.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
rather dismal and dark.
Yeah.
But he was very inspired to honor these victims through his music. And the songs have been so well received. They have been compared to Brahms and Schumann in many ways. And there's a little bit of a touch of the film music influence and a little bit of cabaret. And so they're very interesting and very beautiful. And audiences are always hearing them for the very first time because they're not even published.
Right.
I have colleagues in Germany and Israel who sent me the scanned copies of these songs
Oh, wow.
because they're not published anywhere. And I'm also in touch with Norbert Glansberg's adult son, who lives in Paris now and has a recording studio.
Wow.
And he also supported the project and sent me different versions of the songs for different voice types.
That's wonderful. That's what a little jewel that you found.
Yes.
You know, that's I just want to say, as your former student, I am very proud of what you've done, and you have been so busy making art, making music happen, and you just happen to be using your medium, which is your voice. So you can find Rachel Joselson and Rainey Laquona's recordings of Songs of the Holocaust on iTunes and Amazon, and through Albany Records.
And I also wanted to just direct anyone who would like some more information to go to my personal website, racheljoselson.com. There is a Songs of the Holocaust page, as well as a review page, and you can read all about the history, where we've been, where we're going, and there are many links to audio as well as video performances if you're interested.
Thank you so much, Rachel. It has been it's been so good to see you again and to talk to you in front of a camera. And genuinely, I think what you're doing is so wonderful and exciting. So keep it up.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thank you for joining us for the intermission. That is all we have today, and I'll see you next time.